The show will go on for the cast of American University's latest student production, despite a COVID-19 outbreak during opening weekend. Ahead, members of the cast and crew share their experiences.
Also, seniors in a School of Communications class hosted an experiential learning conference last week. We have the details about this inaugural event and some learning opportunities outside the classroom. ATV News starts now. Good afternoon and welcome to ATV News. I'm Fabianna Rincon.
And I'm Adriana Doria. Thank you for joining us. The Department of Performing Arts' latest production, Into the Woods, hit some hurdles on its way to the stage last weekend. But with 3 more shows this weekend, the cast and crew say they're optimistic. American University Department of Performing Arts' production of Into the Woods had an unexpected opening weekend. The show was scheduled to have 4 shows over their first weekend, but due to a COVID outbreak, that turned to 1. According to the production assistant Patricia McGee, 2 understudies performed for opening night. The other 3 scheduled performances for the first weekend were canceled due to COVID and other illnesses. Despite a challenging opening weekend, McGee says being a part of the production has been a rewarding experience.
It's been really great. It's my first show at AU ever. I did it kind of just for fun, and it ended up being something that I want to do more long term.
The show comes less than 6 months after composer Stephen Sondheim passed away. Student actress Alexandra Plummer says that the show is a great way to remember Sondheim's legacy.
And we were so honored to do this production so short a time after Sondheim's death. It's been kind of our way of saying goodbye, of honoring him.
The show has 3 more performances this weekend, and McGee hopes it gets extended another weekend.
The show is much deeper than the Wikipedia entry might make it out to be.
Professors, students, and community members gathered together to celebrate how AU students engage in extracurricular activities and gain experiences in internships. Sanvi Bangalore has the details from the event in the Bridge Cafe.
Education outside of the classroom is something many American University students are familiar with. From attending events and conferences in their fields to internships, many on campus will have the opportunity to learn directly from professionals in their field throughout their time at AU. On Wednesday, April 6th, the School of Communications put on a cutting-edge experiential learning conference. The AU School of Communications Experiential Learning Program connects current students and recent graduates with AU alumni, parents, and professionals working in the field of communications.
Yeah, and I did the marketing and brand, so we did outreach, social media. I was responsible for the event spray. We got all the bags and cookies all together to make this event amazing.
The Experiential Learning Conference had many panelists, most of which are coveted professors within the School of Communications. One of these panelists provided some insight into the significance of experiential learning.
We have kind of our standard traditional program, which is our core strength in the experiential space, but then we also have an amazing advocacy program, which we can think about that in terms of moot court and mock trial and transactional law societies.
Sam DeBona, leader of the events team for this event, also had something to say about the planning process.
It's really, just a really cool experience to see something that's kind of been rolling around in all of our heads for months on months be a real thing in real life with real attendees and real panelists and real conversations.
I'm Sanvi Bangalore with ATV News.
The American University mock trial team traveled to Elizabethtown College in Pennsylvania last week. The team competed in the 37th American Mock Trial Association's National Championship Tournament. AU's mock trial had placed in the top 6 of the 2 previous tournament's rounds.
So we had our most successful year in AUMT history all through the fall as well as the spring. We ended up with 3 first-place finishes and 2 second-place finishes.
At the tournament, AU earned 10th place out of 48 mock trial teams. It was the first time the team competed in nationals in 5 years. AU student government elections wrapped up last week with the Center for Student Involvement intervening. Olivia Wood reports on the new programming and advocacy leadership for the school next year.
The American University student government had their 2022 spring election at the end of March. The race for AUSG president was between China Brody and Kira Thorsden. Out of the 2,409 votes, 1,321 students voted for Brody, 711 students voted for Thorsden, and 296 students wrote in someone else, and 81 students abstained.
I voted for Kira Thorsden, and that's because I support her. I supported her when she ran, and that was because I wanted AUSG to be reformed. I wanted her to, communicate with me, which is something that the incumbent president did not do.
On March 30th, the last day to vote, the presidential candidates were told there would be a revote because the undergraduate Senate decertified the election results against the recommendations of the Elections Commission. One of the presidential candidates was found handing out flyers in the Mary Graydon Center on campus, which is not allowed according to the Elections Commission Board. This was overturned, and Brody was declared the AUSG president for her second term. Students can look forward to next year and can keep up with what Brody plans to achieve on the American University Student Government Instagram at AUStudentGov. I'm Olivia Wood with ATV News.
Turning now to the School of Public Affairs. The latest U.S. News and World Report ranked SPA and its graduate program high in its annual university rankings. Reporter Caroline Johnson hears from a student in the SPA Leadership Program.
American University is known for its prestigious academic courses, and the School of Public Affairs is no exception to this. As the latest U.S. News and World Report rankings are announced, the SPA Graduate School is being ranked 10th for all public affairs institutions in the country. It has climbed 4 spots in the last 3 years. AU has also been named the #1 school of public affairs in Washington, D.C. The school's thorough commitment to public affairs was recognized with rankings in 9 specialty areas as well, including public management and leadership, international policy and global administration, and nonprofit management, just to name a few of the graduate specialties.
The high ranking for SPA is very exciting for me as a student because I started as a poli-sci major and I'm in the SPA leadership program, so having that kind of connection to it is really exciting.
For ATV, I'm Caroline Johnson.
Coming up after the break, a petition is circling campus to change the Jacobs Fitness Center and Cassell Fitness Center's dress code. Ahead, we hear from the petition's creator.
Also, summer is a time to get ahead for some students who are taking advantage of travel and research opportunities. We hear from these students about their summer plans after the break.
I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
Welcome back to ATV News. An AU freshman created a petition addressing the dress codes at the campus gyms. Caroline Johnson reports why some students are unhappy with the current rules.
American University is home to 2 gyms that students are free to use. Both Cassell and Jacobs Fitness Center are popular among students of all genders who are trying to stay in shape. But students are again raising concerns about a long-term issue that gym-goers have faced. This issue has been brought up in the past, and students believe the administration haven't handled it properly. Students feel that the dress code in the gym is rooted in sexism, preventing women from wearing what they want and feel comfortable in while working out. The dress code enforces that you must cover your midsections, which means women cannot wear sports bras or cropped tank tops. In an effort to combat an issue she believes is rooted in misogyny, freshman Madeline Ruel created a petition fighting for fewer female restrictions at AU gyms.
I went to the gym one day in Cassell and I was wearing a tank top It was pretty full coverage. It wasn't like a sports bra or anything, but I was told by an employee that I had to cover up because I couldn't have any part of my stomach showing, and it made me feel pretty upset.
With over 100 signatures, Madeline hopes the petition catches the attention of students and faculty to raise awareness and hopefully change or put a stop to the unfair dress code that she believes promotes harmful ideas about gender and sexual behavior. For ATV News, I'm Caroline Johnson.
The AU Honors Program's Research Symposium provides a platform for honors students to share projects they have worked on all semester. Gabby Arnold reports on the event and student projects.
The American University Honors Program is marked by a spring semester of research and inquiry into a topic of the student's choosing. Throughout the semester, honors students are guided by professors as they conduct their own research and create subsequent media to present it. The Honors Research Symposium is the time in which students get to showcase what they have worked on all semester.
We came up with our research question, which was really looking into how women of color in Hollywood, how they feel, especially creative. So the women of color who are writing and directing, not so much acting, how they create representations of their own identities and whether or not those representations are really true to the community that they're trying to represent.
So the class that I'm in is commodification and representation. So the topic that I chose kind of had to stem from something of that sort. So something that is commodified, something that has to do with representation and things like that. So I decided to go with the commodification of Black culture through dance.
Despite the ups and downs of independent research, these students now have the opportunity to share what they have discovered and get recognition for all of their hard work. The Honors Research Symposium was moved online on April 8th, but still took place on April 9th. I'm Gabby Arnold with ATV News.
According to a recent survey from the U.S. Centers for Disease Control, American teenagers are experiencing a mental health crisis amid the COVID-19 pandemic. Jane Fusco reports how this trend is impacting AU students.
A new CDC report highlights a dramatic decline in mental health among U.S. teens. More than 4 in 10 report feeling persistently sad and hopeless, while 2/3 say they have difficulty focusing on schoolwork. Dr. Jackie Darby notes that more students are reaching out to the AU Counseling Center, and she says there's a number of factors behind this trend.
It was pandemic, it was social political factors, it was developmentally college students are at an age where changes are happening, so they want to talk about it.
Some students say their stress levels are only increasing as finals approach.
So it's really hard as we are so close to the finish line, but still have so much work to do before we get there.
According to Darby, students need to recognize when they need help and reach out to others.
Don't fall into the temptation of just silencing yourself, because that's what the saddest wants you to do, wants to keep you to yourself. So I always encourage people to lean into connecting with others or connecting to something when something's telling you to pull away.
I'm Jane Caroline Fusco reporting for ATV News.
Due to ongoing issues with AU student email addresses, the university will switch from Gmail to Microsoft Outlook in August. Before the mandatory switchover this summer, students can opt to sign up for an Outlook account earlier on the Office of Information Technology's website. At the start of next school year, student emails will drop the student prefix.
Some AU students will begin internships this summer, and others will travel home to spend a few months off. Our Alex Murphy reports on AU students participating in summer research opportunities.
2022 spring semester comes to a close. American University students are getting a jump start on their summer travel and research plans.
This summer I'm going to Ocean City with some of my high school friends. It's going to be really fun because we did this senior year, and it's going to be a great time to reconnect with them.
Travel for pleasure is always an option for students in between semesters. However, other students take this time to participate in research-based analysis and inquiry.
I'm really excited because this summer I am going to shadow my dentist.
Students tell ATV News that many fail to recognize the possibilities that research offers to young people developing their careers.
I feel like a lot of students overlook that experience and they just go for an internship that pays or one that is just going to look good on their resume. But again, I feel that this is an experience and an opportunity that I couldn't pass up.
I'm Alex Murphy with ATV News.
After the break, we take a look at the strong competition in this year's Battle of the Bands contest. We'll hear from Student Union Board's director about the contest.
A larger class means fewer on-campus housing opportunities for upperclassmen. When ATV returns, Ben Mermel reports on how students are securing fall housing.
Been saying for centuries, but now we've got something to say. Save it.
It's time to save ourselves by saving our money.
Until we're no longer 80% more likely than men to live in poverty in retirement.
Save it. The falsehoods, the feelings of fault.
Then, the funds. Learn how to save for your retirement at wesaysaveit.org.
I think it's just vapor with flavor.
It won't hurt my kid like cigarettes, right?
Vaping is safer than smoking, isn't it?
There's really not even that much nicotine in them, right?
My kid?
My kid knows it's dangerous.
Get your head out of the cloud. Today, nearly 8,000 kids will start vaping, maybe even yours. Learn about the dangers at talkaboutvaping.org.
Welcome back to ATV News. DC's music scene is preparing for another summer packed with performances, and AU music groups are no exception. Our Madyson Brown reports on the recent Battle of the Bands competition in the Bridge Cafe.
As the semester winds down, Battle of the Bands heats up. American University's student-run radio station, WVAU, and the Student Union Board, the on-campus organization focused on bringing entertainers to the school, paired up for the special event on Wednesday, April 6th. The Battle of the Bands featured 4 bands and performers who competed for audience applause. Here is Kiana Brooks, the director of the Student Union Board, to explain a little bit more about the event.
So, Battle of the Bands, if you're new to AU or just new to the community itself, Battle of the Bands is an event that we've had in the past. I believe the last time we've had this event was 2019, where we basically got DMV local talent and student talent to come into one space and basically battle it out. And it's a student-run, student-promoted, student talent and younger talent event. So
the winner of the Battle of the Bands was Pajama Day. As a special prize, they will have the opportunity to play in the upcoming Student Union Board Musical Festival on April 23rd. I'm Madyson Brown with ATV News.
With the semester coming to a close, students now focus on securing fall housing. But changes in AU's enrollment numbers are complicating campus housing availability. Ben Mermel reports on some of the challenges upperclassmen face.
This coming fall, students will move into their housing assignments, which have by and large been selected in late March. Some upper-class students, however, lost the opportunity to get housing on campus. Officially, the AU Housing and Residence Life Department states, quote, "On-campus housing is not guaranteed beyond the rising sophomore population. As admission rates for the class of 2025 were higher than expected, the amount of students who will be sophomores in the fall is 5% higher. This has translated into a limited amount of spots for upperclassmen, with many forced to seek off-campus housing. In 2021, the Advisory Neighborhood Commission for Ward 3, Section D, issued a formal condemnation of American University's lack of adequate housing in the form of a letter stating, quote, "We write with concern that the university did not inform us of or the partnership until near the end of the fall semester that because of the unpredicted impact of the pandemic, the university ended up enrolling more undergraduate students than is allowed under its district-approved 2011 campus plan." We spoke to a student who was forced to seek housing off campus this fall.
And I'm only going to be here in the fall next semester, and I plan to go abroad, so I was really counting on getting housing here, specifically in Nebraska.
The Housing and Residence Life Department sent out emails to upperclassmen indicating which housing slots were available, and over the course of a few days, all of the spots in Cassell, Hughes, Frequency, and Nebraska halls were taken. I'm Ben Mermel with ATV News.
Restaurants throughout Washington, D.C. are finding creative ways to raise relief aid for the war in Ukraine. Companies are donating a portion of their profits to relief organizations like the World Central Kitchen, a nonprofit initiative that provides meals for international communities in crisis. Olivia Macaron in Georgetown designed a Support Ukraine gift box, and Tabla, a fast casual restaurant specializing in Georgian food, created themed cocktails. As thousands of visitors flock to the D.C. area to see the cherry blossoms, some are taking part in the National Cherry Blossom Festival. Our Elena Arango reports on the cherry blossom season and D.C. events.
With the peak of the cherry blossoms, the celebrations continue in the city. Tourists from all over the world gather together to celebrate the start of the spring. From late March to late April, there are events to enjoy like the Japanese Street Festival, Cherry Blossom Festival Parade, Pixel Bloom, and Petal Palooza.
I really think it's a great way to celebrate the union of U.S. culture and Japanese.
On campus, we are fortunate to enjoy the most beautiful time of the year, with the 25 cherry blossom trees planted throughout SIS building and East Quad. It has been 60 years since the cherry blossoms were planted as a message of beauty and friendship.
All the cherry on the campus are from Jeju Island because it started by the Korean cherry, the 4 cherries back 1943.
With this said, American University is looking to propagate the Korean cherry trees on campus to continue their campus beautification project. It is time to go out and admire the city, filled with pink and white buttons. Make sure to check out the National Cherry Blossom Festival webpage on how and where the events will take place. This is Elena Arango for ATV News.
AU's campus is an accredited 84-acre arboretum and public garden. Every year, students participate in a campus-wide beautification day to help maintain it. The American University Arboretum hosted its 2022 Campus Beautification Days last week on Tuesday, April 5th and Wednesday, April 6th. Each year, the Arboretum invites the American University community to, quote, celebrate and improve upon our beautiful campus, unquote, by collaborating on project gardening sites across the grounds. Hundreds of students, alumni, campus organizations, and AU athletes joined the Arboretum staff on Tuesday and Wednesday to help plant trees, lay mulch, and participate in other ecological projects across campus. The American University Arboretum has celebrated Campus Beautification Day since 2013, and after having to cancel their event in 2020 and scaling it back in 2021, the Arboretum was delighted to have the ceremony back in full swing for 2022. The events began on Tuesday with registration and project gardening sites from 8 to 11 a.m. At 11:30, a ceremony for the dedication of the Olmsted tree occurred on the quad at Hearst Hall. Later, community members gathered at the amphitheater for a speech from President Burwell and other distinguished guests.
But it was really fantastic to see everybody out and, gardening and landscaping is an outdoor activity. So I know it was popular during COVID. A lot of people didn't go on vacation. They stayed home and worked at their own homes.
The Arboretum called the 2022 Campus Beautification Day an overall success. Campus Beautification Day helped our grounds look great in time to enjoy the sunny weather. With that, ATV News is signing off for the spring semester. We want to thank the School of Communications for hosting us this year.
And a big shout out to ATV's graduating seniors and our general manager and executive producer, Gabe Ferris. The newscast would not have been possible without his dedication.
I'm Fabianna Rincon.
And I'm Adriana Doria. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the fall.